Hey everyone, welcome to Behind the Grind, where we critique and review your favorite video games. In this video, we're taking an in-depth look at Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2's online PvP mode, Eternal War. I'm a massive fan of Space Marine 2. However, as stated in my review on the channel, I firmly believe that while the weakest part of the game, Eternal War has an ungodly amount of potential to flourish and be an amazing PvP experience. I, and many others, have been vocal on how Eternal War is incomplete, shallow, and lackluster. It's really important to talk about this because campaign and operations are so well crafted that it feels like Eternal War was just forgotten and pushed to the side. So, with that being said, we're going to head straight into the root problems of Eternal War, and it's important to mention that we'll also highlight the positives of the PvP mode. Before we begin, I want to ask you to please give the video a like and consider subscribing to the channel, as it shows your support and it helps out tremendously, and I am very grateful for the viewers of the channel. So as we kick this off, Eternal War is a 6v6 competitive multiplayer mode in which both teams battle each other in 3 different game modes: Annihilation, Seize Ground, and Capture and Control. For those familiar with any other competitive arena shooters like Call of Duty, Annihilation is a basic team deathmatch that pits the 2 teams in a race to a set amount of kills to win. Seize Ground is pretty much the same thing as Domination, where as long as you actively hold a majority of capture points, you'll rack up the team score, and to finish, Capture and Control is basically Hardpoint. 1 point rotates every couple of seconds, and you just gotta plant your ass on it and win. And unfortunately, that's pretty much it when it comes to selection of game modes. A disappointing 3 is what we currently have available, and it's simply not enough. I have a general understanding that, given enough time, that game developers will add more modes in the future, but as it stands, playing the same 3 objectives over and over again gets stale very fast. A couple of strong modes that should have been here include Free For All and Capture the Flag, and interestingly enough, I recently had the opportunity to watch Angry Joe Show's review of Space Marine 2, and it's discussed on the show the potential of what could have been an asymmetric Space Marine versus Tyranid or any other faction mode that requires a different experience for opposing sides instead of a standard shootout. Now that seems pretty cool to me. Does anyone remember Beast Mode back on Gears of War 3? I sure do. It was cool as hell to play as some of the Locust monsters, and being able to play as a Tyranid warrior or a lictor could have been pretty badass here. I think this is a massive missed opportunity. Another huge miss here is the supreme lack of multiplayer maps on launch. As of this recording, we have an impressive amount of 3 maps. Talk about lackluster. You have 3 modes and 3 maps. There's barely any variety. It feels like you're playing the same damn experience over and over until you just get burnt out from the repetitive meta that is present here in Eternal War. PvP here is just such a huge disappointment, but to be completely honest, not everything on offer is terrible. The maps that are presented to us here are all good. None of them feel particularly special, but each map is pulled from one of the campaign mission locations. There's a huge miss here, and we can certainly feel the lack of maps here. An extra 3 would have been really great, but as of now, 3 is what we have, and we'll just have to make do with what we got. As mentioned in past reviews, the gameplay here is stellar and very addicting. Fighting against other players here is very refined, and all of the weapons feel pretty balanced. None of the classes except for Bulwark feel annoying to fight, and every class has their strengths and their weaknesses. I will say, however, that Heavy is definitely the most OP class, with 4 armor points, powerful weaponry, and a shield to deflect incoming damage. What I believe to be a huge miss here is the lack of the amazing melee combat system that is present in campaign and operations. Here, you just swing your weapon and whoever swings faster and harder wins. There's no parry system, and most disappointing for me is there's no executions. Like, how is this a possibility? Am I just being an ignorant person and not realizing that was done on purpose due to a design flaw, or was it a creative decision? I'm not entirely sure, but if Gears of War could do it all those years before, why couldn't Space Marine 2 do it here? Now, customization in terms of items and class functionality is a complete hit or miss here. Classes like Tactical have access to an entire arsenal of primary weapons to choose from, yet only one secondary is available, and this is present in many other classes as well, such as Assault and Bulwark, where you can't even select from all the secondary options. I absolutely refuse to believe that this was for balancing, as it severely restricts the player's options when it comes to weapon selection. I mean, the only melee option for Sniper is a simple combat knife, as you don't even have the option to use a chainsword, the most basic ass melee weapon in the game. For cosmetics, it's a mixed bag. Each weapon has a pool of different weapon skins you can unlock as you progress your way through the ranks, and are welcome to see here. And what is really in the spotlight here is a Space Marine customization, and I have plenty to say about that. I love swapping out armor pieces and looking at the Codex heraldry to make a lore accurate character, but if you tried something like that, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say. For some reason, the customization options allow for the possibility of making a lore accurate character, but the amount of missing content here is heresy. You can't change eye color, a lot of shoulder icons are missing. When choosing a number on an icon to designate the squad your Space Marine is in, the player can't actually change the number, and what is really disappointing to me is that certain colors are locked behind a paywall, and that's just unforgivable. I can get on board with selling cosmetics as much as I hate it. I believe you should be able to unlock any and all armor pieces by progressing, but why sell the colors? It's like Halo Infinite all over again. Monetize your game and make your money, I'll support you, but locking basic customizations such as colors behind a paywall is a sin. It's unforgettable here and is extremely disappointing. It's also important to mention that everything I just mentioned previously only applies to the normal Astartes. Chaos Astartes have no customization other than color. No armor swapping, no weapon skins, no chapters, nothing. I hate having to play as the Chaos Astartes because of the lack of customization, and at times they can be an eyesore. 9 out of 10 times, I'd always rather play as the regular Space Marines, as with them I can at least customize as much as I can. The armor is all weathered and torn, and all I want to do is play as a shiny Thousand Suns Heretic Rubric Marine. But you're severely limited when it comes to your options here. Developers, if you're listening, please take notes. This is what your players want. So as we come to an end, I want to make something very clear. What Space Marine 2 has here is very addicting and fun to play. The combat loop in this game is just perfection. The gameplay isn't necessarily all that's wrong here, but the extreme lack of variety. For the more hardcore players, they'll be locked in, but for the more casual player base, they've been getting tired of the repetitive nature of the Eternal War mode. Devs need to keep doing what they're doing, but work harder and faster, or Space Marine 2 will fade away. So what do you think about Space Marine 2 PvP? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let us know in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe as it helps out tremendously and I greatly appreciate your support. This has been Behind the Grind, and I'll see you on the next one.